Boy, we've got to jump right at it. I have 10 questions on today's quiz.
Bill and Ron in the morning. WRCO.
Hello, Ronnie.
Good morning, Philip.
There he is.
Yeah, by golly. Right in the middle of a flash flood watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That doesn't sound real good.
No, not surprised. We didn't get much this morning, fortunately. So,
Well, we'll be fortunate if we don't get much all day long, but it just doesn't look like the whole region will be able to say that. It's who's going to get how much and who's going to be the unenviable individual who's in the spot where it just keeps raining and raining and raining. So we'll see. So
yeah.
Next 24 hours critical.
Kind of know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people have just been unlucky where they're the ones that just seems like every time it rains, they're the ones
It rains in that
get
spot,
the most.
Yeah.
Yep.
So be alert, and we'll talk more during the morning news hour coming up. So
All right.
yeah, it's Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's quiz day.
Oh, it's quiz day.
Yeah.
Boy,
Well, you
okay.
got your paper out. You knew it.
Yeah,
You
well,
were
that's right.
talking about it in the last half hour.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. It
that's
was.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I shouldn't act surprised.
No,
then.
not really.
Okay.
I mean, you've only been doing this for how many years?
Well, a few.
now?
Yeah.
We should have written down when we started.
I bet it's at least 5.
Oh, yeah, it's at least 5.
At least
Because I've
5
got
years.
some that I know are 5 years old.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they don't look any better today than they did then.
They don't.
You know?
No.
Still haven't found much on Gregorian chants.
No, Gregorian chants. No, I don't.
You know,
Probably
that's
not.
just not come up. Just not a lot of information.
It's mentioned in one Beach Boys song.
Is
That's
it
all I-
really?
that's all I know from
Huh.
popular music. So.
Boy, well, that wouldn't be much of a question if you already know it. And
Right.
you gave it to me. What good would that be?
Well, then again, I
That'd
might.
be like the student writing his own quiz and giving it to the teacher, and then the teacher giving it back and saying, "Here, take a quiz."
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair,
No,
would it? No.
Not necessarily. No, it wouldn't be a good indication of what you'd learned.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, what, pray tell, is today's quizzy on?
today's quizzy is on squash.
Squash.
Squash. Do you have any
Well,
squash in your garden?
We do.
You do? What kind of squash do you raise in your garden, Mr. Nee?
Well, I'll tell you what. Some of it didn't turn out real well.
Really?
I think Mama Deer squashed some of it before. it
Squashed
could-
your squash?
Yeah, I think so. I think
That's
she
too
ate the
bad.
blossoms or something. But
Oh,
there's a couple of acorns, which are my personal favorites. I think
squash or off an oak tree?
No, they're
Okay,
squash.
they're squash,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
And some winter squash, I think.
Oh,
and
well,
some,
good for
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Well, there are lots of varieties of squash. Let's jump in right now. How many questions do you think I have?
8.
You got it.
Oh, do I get credit for that?
Not much.
Oh, okay.
Not much, but you can feel good about yourself. That
I
was
just
impressive.
Went with the average.
Yeah, yeah. 8 questions on squash today.
Okay.
If for lunch you have 1 cup of cubed winter squash, how many calories will you enjoy? 65, 80, 95, or 110? That squash out there in your garden, how much energy does that represent for you to get out and do a volleyball game tonight?
Now, is this before brown sugar and butter?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
65, 80, 95, or 110. But you didn't mention marshmallows.
No.
Do you put
no.
marshmallows on your
Oh,
squash?
no.
Oh, really? Huh. Do you put cheese on your pie?
Once in a while.
Yeah, see? So what's wrong with the little marshmallow on top of your sweet potatoes?
Well, I love it
And
on
your
sweet
squash.
potatoes, but squash, I've not tried it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Sweet enough with my brown sugar. that
it
I put in there.
is.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
You like a little squash with your brown
I
sugar,
do.
you?
Yes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you.
Number 2 is true or false. Summer squash is a good source of vitamin A. If you're eating a summer squash, are you getting your vitamin A? Number 3, which of the following is the biggest squash producing state? Florida, New York, California, or North Carolina? Which one of those is our top squash producing state? Florida, New York, California, or North Carolina?
Okay, this is a tough one, Ronnie.
Oh, number 4. The United States is the world's biggest importer or exporter of squash. Are we the world's biggest importer or the world's biggest exporter of squash?
Okay.
All right. This may surprise you. It is question number 5. Squash is low or it is high in fiber? Squash is low or is it high in fiber? My, the consternation.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Number 6 is true or false. President George Washington grew squash in his garden. Is that true or is that false? All right. Number 7.
Right by the cherry tree.
Right by the cherry tree. That's right. Yep. True or false? Many squash were grown to be used as containers when they dried up, as opposed to be used as a food source. Is that true or false? You were raising squash, so you had a purse and an equipment bag.
Well, yeah, or a hat.
Yeah, I suppose
if
that
it's
could
big
be.
enough.
Yeah, yeah. Is that true or false? And question number 8. You are now transported to Latin America.
Here I am.
All right. A likely use for squash from your garden would be to make bread, cure heartburn, make candies, or decorate your doorpost.
Huh.
You're in Latin America. A likely use for the squash from your garden would be to make bread, cure heartburn, make candies, or decorate your doorpost.
They all sound good.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
It's not always easy to find all these different things.
Oh, boy.
There you go. 8 questions on squash.
I'm going with 5.
Well, that's pretty good.
I believe.
That's a set of confident.
Sure.
Yeah. Good.
Sure. Trying to keep that grade at least at a C.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Question number 1. A cup of cubed winter squash contains about how many calories?
That would be 80.
That would be.
Woohoo! Ronnie!
There you go. Virtually no fat, very little sodium until you start putting on the condiments.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Butter, brown
Lots of
sugar.
brown sugar. That's right. All right, number 2, true or false? Summer squash is a good source of vitamin A.
That's true.
That's false.
Oh, Ronnie, you pulled a fast one on
Summer
me.
squash does not have much vitamin A. Winter squash, however, is a bit better. Summer squash, though, is a good source of vitamin C
Oh, I should have
and dietary fiber.
I should have known, Ronnie.
I just squashed you.
So, in other words, I'd get more vitamins and iron and everything from a glass of Tang.
Well, maybe, but not as good because you wouldn't have as much fiber in natural circumstances.
Well, the astronauts drank it. So.
Are you an astronaut?
Well-
Just because an astronaut does it, does that mean that you should?
Well, you know, I was
if
inspired.
everyone
by it.
else jumped off a cliff, would you?
Oh, well, I've heard that one before.
So have I. Oh, dear.
Oh, well.
Which one of the following is the largest squash producing state?
That would be North Carolina.
That would be Florida.
Florida!
Yeah.
Missed it by that much.
That much, yeah. At least you were on the right coast. Pressure's on now, isn't it? How many have you got wrong? 2.
2 wrong.
Boy, not much margin for error left here.
El Stinko.
Number 4, the United States is the world's biggest importer or exporter of squash.
They're the biggest exporter.
They're the biggest importer.
Oh! Ronnie!
Yeah, dear. Yeah. Boy, that's getting to be a recurring theme.
Boy, I guess.
That's surprising, though, isn't it? So Florida must not produce as much squash as
Yeah.
we need there. So
Yeah,
we import squash.
I was thinking importer, but then I should have went with my first instinct.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
just didn't work.
Number 5. Let's see how you do. Squash is high or low in fiber?
It's low, actually.
It's high.
Well, you said this may surprise you.
I know,
so you
I did that
threw a fast
purposely.
one. I know it's got plenty of fiber,
yeah.
but
Well, hopefully the Brewers don't get that many inside pitches, that kind of, There, go ahead.
You're killing me, Ronnie.
Squash is high in fiber. In fact, it can give you the sensation of feeling full without having to be full.
Oh,
So it could be a valuable part of your training table for the fall season.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was, but then again, you led me astray.
I know. That's
Well,
what's
there
a
you go.
quizmaster supposed to do? Just
Yep.
give you all the answers?
This may be surprising for
Very
you.
surprising for you. Squash is high or low in fiber.
Right. Thought it was obvious it was high in fiber, but I'm thinking, well, it may surprise me. So,
Well, it did.
so it did. You were right, Ronnie.
Number 6, true or false? President Washington grew squash in his garden.
He did.
He did.
Oh, Ronnie. Oh, I'm
Yes, he did.
back on track.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
yeah.
Ooh, I was getting tired of that button.
True or false? Many squash were grown to be used as containers when they dried up, as opposed to being a food source. Is that true?
That's true.
You bet it is.
Thank you.
Also make a birdhouse.
Yeah, I suppose
Yeah,
you could.
you could, yeah.
Sure.
Have a squash birdhouse.
Uh-huh.
You know, gourds kind of work that way too. Of course, they're relatives.
Sure, sure. That would be like a, I don't know, a poor bird's house. I would imagine.
I would think.
You
yeah.
know,
But then again, you know, maybe they fly south, so all they need is a cabin.
That would be a bird that worked in radio. he gets the
My domicile is a squash.
squash house.
Yeah, that'd be real nice.
Yeah, yeah.
You're in Latin America. A likely use for the squash from your garden would be to
that-
make bread, cure heartburn, make candies, or decorate your doorpost.
And I wanted to say all of the above.
You did, okay.
Because they sounded good.
But that wasn't a good
But
opportunity.
No, it was. They make bread with it.
They make candy.
Oh, Ronnie!
Squash candy. I'm not sure what it would be like, but that's the case.
Man,
Yeah, man, tough day, huh?
it was a tough day. 3 right, Ronnie. 3 right.
Squash lovers of America will be in touch with you for remedial work.
I know, and even with that one that you pulled a fast one on, I still would have only had 4 right, you know, if I'd got that. So that's taking my grade down this fall.
Oh, well, you know, it is what it is.
Boy, oh
Not
boy.
many people major in squash.
Probably not.
No.
No. I'm going to have to call Abe back. I think maybe at least I got 58% with him, you know. That's about a 38%, I
Yeah,
think.
well, you were on the math team. That's good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yep. Oh, well. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.